Hi, and welcome to the I T'd Myself podcast. My name is Matthew Miniman, and this is episode 1. What can the Chameleon teach us about social media? So, if you've never played the Chameleon, it's a board game by the company Big Potato Games. And it's a game that has a flavor. There's kind of a theme or a thematic game or series of games that follows this. It's similar to Revolution or Secret Hitler. But basically, the goal of the game is to either fool everybody or find out who doesn't belong. And the way it works is that at the beginning of the game, everybody gets a series of cards. These are code cards. Now, all but one player has the same card. The code card has a grid pattern that corresponds to locations on a topic card. The topic card can be anything like books or food or movies, and it's just a generic topic that all of the other things have in common. And so on the topic card, it might say food, and then you have pizza, pasta, eggs, chicken, potato, salad, cheese, ice cream, fish, soup, fruit, chocolate, cake, bread, sausage, beef. And so as a player, your goal is to find out which one of those words is on the code card. So that's the first portion, is to find out which ones your code card corresponds to the topic on the food. You do this by rolling a dice, and there's a grid pattern that you follow on the code card, which then references a specific spot on the topic card. At any rate, the Chameleon, the one person who doesn't have a regular code card, has the Chameleon card. And their job is to blend in as much as possible. And so the way the turn works is that the person immediately to the right or left, basically the person next to the person who rolled the dice, then starts by stating a single word that has to do with the particular item on the topic card. And so, if the word is chicken, you might say something like feathers. But the problem with that is that if you say feathers, you've eliminated really everything else on that, on the food topic card, because there's nothing else on there that has anything to do with feathers. Like eggs, maybe. Fish, no. Salad, no. Fruit, no. Sausage, no. Not really anything. And so as a person who is providing the tools, providing a word, I have to provide something that is not only specific enough to let everybody else know I know what I'm talking about, but it has to be vague enough so that I don't give the information away to the Chameleon, because the Chameleon is trying to figure out, before it becomes their turn to give a word, they're trying to figure out what the word is. And so for chicken, I might say something like fried, and that there's a lot of things that can be fried. Fried eggs, fried ice cream, fried beef. I don't know if you can fry cake, but who knows? You can fry fish fry, that's a good one. But yeah, there's plenty on that card that can correspond to the word fried. And so that's vague enough to let everybody know I know what I'm talking about. Like everybody's going, oh yeah, fried chicken, that's good. Colonel Sanders, yeah, awesome. But then the Chameleon's like, okay, I don't know what it is. And so the next person's challenge, the next person in line, it's their turn to give a word. And so they might say something like farm, or they might say something like torture. I don't know. You choose. But then the Chameleon, once it's their turn, they have to basically be referencing everything that the people before them have said. Because if they say something that's off the wall, so if they think the word is potato, and so they say something like root, then that's going to let everybody else know that they're the Chameleon. So that is really the first phase of the game. The second phase of the game is everybody convincing everybody else who the chameleon is. And so, again, it is the chameleon's job to fool everybody into convincing everybody else that somebody else is the chameleon, anybody else. And so, they'll sowing discord, or maybe even just sitting silent, waiting for somebody to say something. It's up to however you play and the people that you're playing with. But the point is that the chameleon is really trying to fool people. So anyways, the way that the game works is that if you successfully fool everybody, you get 2 points. But if everybody successfully gets the chameleon, everybody else gets a point. And it's first to 10 points. At least that's the way we play the game. So really, all that being said, what can this possibly tell us about social media or social engineering? And it's a huge deal. I'm going to try to tie these two things together. And this is, you guys are going to come along with me on this journey, and I hope this makes sense to everybody else, because it certainly makes sense in my head, but who knows? I've been doing this for too long. Anyways, the first thing that you have to think about when you're playing Chameleon is if the Chameleon is the guy who immediately is the first person to answer the question, then oh my God, how hard is that? You have to come up with something, and you don't have any sort of idea of what to do. You are just saying, you're just going to say something that kind of has to do with everything. If the topic is food, you can't say food, because that's just that gives it away. But if you're trying to say food and the word is, and you don't know what the word is, you might say something like expensive and just hope for the best. So you're going to have to, as the chameleon in this circumstance where you're the first one guessing, you're going to have to kind of throw darts, and it's up to kind of luck of the draw whether or not you can fool anybody, and also how gullible everybody else is. So there is that in there. But on the flip side of that, if the chameleon's further down the line, if there are 5, 6 people down in the answering queue, if they're the guy who rolled the dice, then they've got the entire rest of everybody else to come up with something to say, to figure out what that word is. And they're going to be thinking about it. It's going to give them a lot more clues as to what's going on. And so there's a lot of data that the chameleon can gather in that time, specifically based off of what people are saying and how they're reacting and the words that they're saying. Some of my friends, when we play this, they are incapable of lying appropriately, and they're incapable of coming up with creative answers to things like this. If the topic were movies and the movie in question was Lord of the Rings, they would say something like Frodo, and it would give it away for everybody. It's just no fun. So, there are some people that do that, and it's just impossible, because they just don't have any capability of lying and or making it subtle. So the reason I bring all of this up is, and the way we can link this to cybersecurity, and specifically social engineering and social media, is that an attacker, when they are looking at you, they are looking to get as much information about you or your organization as possible before they strike. So we see this in a lot of different ways. Some ways it's just people going on the internet and just grabbing information that's readily available. You have a website, you have some data about your business on that website. You've got who you are, you got what you do, you've probably got an address, you've probably got some email addresses on there, maybe just a support address or maybe a sales address or something like that. But you've got some information on there. I mean, that's the entire reason for having a web page, is to have information about your business and what you and who you are out on the internet. So that's one place that a lot of attackers will gather information. Another place attackers will gather information is from previous hacks, so breaches and things like that. So they'll go out and go to the dark web, and if they're specifically trying to target a person, they're going to try to figure out who works at the location they want to get, or they'll try to figure out where that person who they're targeting works, where they work. And so they can do that through the dark web and through previous breaches and trying to find information through there. But really, honestly, the easiest way is that we hand these people that information. We hand them this information all the goddamn time. And it is frustrating how easy it is. As a normal person, as somebody who is just browsing the internet, I can go and find information on just about everybody. You know why? You know how? Social media. That's why. Everybody just gives that information away. Think about the information that is on your LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you probably have your name, your email address, maybe your actual mailing address if you've got your resume up in public. You've got your previous working places. You've got your previous places of work. You probably have your current place of work, and you probably are friends with all of your employees, you're connected to all of your current coworkers, all your previous coworkers, any employees, any employers. You're probably connected to all these people. And so LinkedIn, as an attacker, is a gold mine for this information. I can go and find out really anything I need to know about how to attack you or the organization that you work for based off the information on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, to their credit, has done a considerable amount of work to prevent this type of attack from occurring. You have to opt into a public profile. So I, as a LinkedIn user or as an attacker, can't just find any LinkedIn user. I have to go and register and befriend them. But guess what? That's not going to be hard. Everybody's like, oh, networking. This makes networking easy. Oh, this random person that I've never met before in real life wants to connect. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Now they have access to every single piece of information on your profile, which is sort of defeating the whole purpose. So, you are handing them this information. You're just giving them the data. Another way that is also very public that people use is Facebook or Instagram or, TikTok, any of these social media platforms where you are posting private information. You are providing attackers with data farms. You are providing them with all this information, especially if you're one of those people who can't help but friend everybody. If you don't know somebody, my suggestion is you don't friend them. If you've never met them in real life, don't friend them. Don't even bother. Just take a step back. Don't friend them. They won't be offended. You're not going to miss out on some opportunity. It's not your long-lost girlfriend from high school. It's not the Nigerian prince trying to hand you $1 million, guys. It's just a rando who may be somebody gathering information on how to attack you or your organization. So those are some of the best ways that an attacker will go and find information. Another way that attackers will gather information about your organization and you personally is your company's website. Again, I'm going to go back to this. So a normal company website typically just has like the basic information about their business. But say you work for a company that has a lot of public ground or needs to have a public face. And so you need to have a lot of information on there. What comes to mind for me most readily are hospitals or health organizations. They love to put their doctors on the front face of their website. The doctor's information, including their first name, their last name, sometimes they include where they went to school. Sometimes they include information about what their specialties are. They give all this information out there just willy-nilly. And sometimes, in the most extreme circumstances, there are direct emails to these people. What this does for an attacker is it allows them to see this information. And it's not just doctors. It's other people like CEOs or finance officers or purchasing folk, even salespeople to have on these websites. And I get there is a certain aspect of I need to connect with people. I need them to know who we are. But also there should be a level of, hey, maybe I shouldn't post a lot of this information out there. So for instance, I'm going to give you an example. As an attacker, if I find out that somebody has joined a Fortune 500 company, They just started a Fortune 500 company. How do I know this? Because I'm connected to them with LinkedIn. And I see that they've changed their LinkedIn profile to reflect the fact that they just got hired at this Fortune 500 company. Well, I'm going to go to this Fortune 500 company's website, and I'm going to go and I'm looking for whoever works in or near this person. Let's say this is the assistant to one of the vice presidents of finance. So I go and I find the chief financial officer. I find their information. Well, that's pretty easy to find because almost always the C-suite folks have their faces and emails posted on the internet. If they don't have their emails, they definitely have their faces posted on there. And it could just be on LinkedIn, but more than likely, if you're a public organization, for whatever reason, you C-suite folks love to put your faces on the webpage. So, anyways, they'll gather this information for the C-suite person. They'll figure out the email because email addresses are not complex. First initial, last name, first name, last initial, first name dot last name, first name, last name at domain.com. It's super easy. It's not very difficult, not very complicated. It's very easy to guess. And in fact, there are websites that farm this information specifically for salespeople to sit there and cold call folks. So this is not hard to do. This is not hard to find out. You can go and search for this information on the internet. Just Googling it is enough. Anyways, as an attacker, I'm not going to attack the CFO because the CFO's been there for a while. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attack this new person that has joined this Fortune 500 company because they're not going to know anything about the company that they're joining. I mean, they're going to know some stuff, but they're not going to know like the classic information like how do these people contact each other, who asks who for favors, how do things get done, like is there ever an emergency. Those types of things are always kind of up in the air. You're never really going to know that stuff until you get in and actually experience and get in with the folks that you're working with. So as an attacker, I'm going to leverage that information. I'm going to leverage the fact that you don't know that information. And so I'm going to contact you as if I were that CFO. I'm going to contact this new person posing as the CFO either through email or through text or maybe even a phone call if I'm really brave. So I'm going to contact you and I'm going to convince you that there's a situation that needs your attention and I really just need your help. And that's the key. That right there. I need your help. I don't need you to give me everything. I don't need you to hand me $1 million. I just need help. And you, as an individual, 95% of you, the 5% I'm reserving for you sociopaths and psychotics out there, but 95% of folks just want to help. That's all. They just want to be helpful. And they want to be helpful to the people who they want to like and be liked by. So all this information that I'm going to throw at you as an attacker. I'm going to give you this situation. I'm going to attach a sense of urgency to it, and then I'm just going to ask you to help me out just a little bit, just enough for you to establish a sense of trust with the situation. That is then going to lead you as this new individual at this Fortune 500 company to make a mistake and leverage your access to do something wrong. It may just be buying gift cards. It may be resetting a password. It may be to contact IT on your behalf. It could be really anything. As an attacker, I'm really just looking to see how far I can push you before you're going to tell me no. And so how do we tie this back to this game that we're playing? Well, by giving out all this information, by posting all this information out on the internet, by having social media as ungodly ingrained in our lives as it is, what we're doing is we're handing these people the last turn on the Chameleon. They are able to watch all the information that you've said, and they're able to culminate and basically create an attack scheme that's going to succeed. And for them, if they fail, guess what? No big deal. To them, it's just a game. To you, it's your life. And so that's the big thing here. because they're going to attack you. They're going to attack you because they're going to attack you the way that is going to succeed the most. So let's dive in just a little bit deeper into this. Let's tie this together even closer. So in the scheme of the Chameleon, one of the hardest things to do is to say something about a topic, about a word that you have no idea. One of the topic cards in here is classic poetry, which I have no idea. I could not tell you anything about it. And so when that card comes up, I basically have to lie my ass off, even though I know what the card is. I know what the word is. I have no idea who this person is. Like E.E. Cummings. Okay, well, weird. I guess. I don't know. It's this whole thing. And so when I say that, that's going to be an opportunity. That is going to be an opportunity for the attacker to point the finger at me and basically be like, that's the guy. That's how he's going to fool everybody else into thinking that he's the good guy, that he's even. Just like when you are a new person in an organization, they're going to target you because you don't know. You just don't have the information. And you said something that wasn't necessarily in line. Just like as the new person, you're gonna act because you don't know what the normal operating procedure of your environment is. And so they're going to attack this to get you to do the thing. Or in the sense of Chameleon, they're going to attack you to make you the chameleon, to convince everybody that you're the chameleon. And so there is a lot that can be said for this. And so, there's not a good answer here for how can you protect yourself, because you protecting yourself in this circumstance, if you're the person who's just joined an organization, the only thing you can do is ask, verify, double check, give the information out, and be open with everybody. But I can understand when you're coming into a new organization, that can be hard, especially because there are people who will flip out at you like, why are you wasting my time with this? Just take care of it. That sort of thing. I know as a newbie in an organization, sometimes I got, freaked out by some of the folks, and not until I was there for a while did I feel comfortable in the organization that I was in. I get it. I totally get it. So like I said, it is possible for you as the individual to protect yourself. It really is. But that requires you to be brave and to double check and to come back. And what I suggest is that you as the person, if you have somebody who's going to yell at you for trying to be secure and safe and to double check and check up on things, then if they're going to yell at you and drive you away, they're probably not worth keeping around. And you probably need to go and find a new location. But what can we do on the organizational side to prevent this from being a thing, to protect ourselves as an organization? Well, employee training is going to be key. You're going to want to train people from day one how your organization operates. And you're going to want to make sure that they feel empowered to bring these types of issues that come up. So I'm going to throw out a couple of real world examples here. I live in Colorado. And here in Colorado, we have a couple of casino towns scattered about the state. One of them is Black Hawk. Black Hawk is home to, I think, 30, maybe it's closer to 20, but somewhere between 20 and 30 different casinos. One of the casinos up there, one of the larger casinos up there is called Monarch Casino. I've been there. It's very nice. It's decent. Very rarely win there, but that's aside from the point. The Monarch Casino was victim of an attack, and what happened is that there was a dealer who hadn't been there very long. She was on her day off, and she got a text from somebody who said they were the cash room manager, and they were like, and the message that they got was something akin to, "Hey, this is Greg with in the cash room. I know you're on your day off, and I was hoping I could ask a favor of you." And this person basically did no verification, trusted the trusted the text that they got, and she was like, "Okay, what can I do for you, Greg?" And Greg was like, "Okay, well, there's a situation. We are in a really rough position where we've got to send a payment out to the feds." Of $500,000. It's for tax purposes, but if we don't send it today, they're going to shut us down tomorrow. So can you go to work and go to the cash room and grab the cash so that we can pay for this? And he framed this in such a way that it didn't seem like it was a big deal, because he also gave her the information. It was like, it's okay, you can go into the cash room, it's unlocked, and you can, the cash will be all piled right along the side of the back of the wall. So all you have to do is just reach in and grab $500,000. And so all this information, however he discussed it with this person, she bought it, hook, line, and sinker. So she drove back up to work. I believe she lived in Denver at the time, and she went out and she got the money. And what's kind of interesting about the whole situation is she didn't just go in once. She went in, grabbed a bunch of money, came back, conceivably counted all the money, went back in and grabbed more after she realized she didn't have enough. And so they have the recording, they had the video recording of her grabbing the money. So they see all of this. And then when she's in the car, she says, "Okay, I've got the money. Who do I need? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to drop this off to?" And this is another red flag. This is where the story takes another left turn. Greg said, "Okay, you need to contact our lawyer. He'll let you know when and where you can take the money to drop it off." And so then he gives her this email address and phone number to text, and that's what she does. She texts this guy, and she verifies who he is, supposedly, and he whips out this other story. He says, "Hey, this is great. I can definitely facilitate this. I can definitely help you guys out. The problem is that my kid just went into the hospital. I'm down here at the Anschutz Children's Hospital, and I need you to drive down here, and that's where I can drop the money off. If you can drop the money off, I can get it to the feds today. I can get that done, I promise." And her just trying to help and her just being a good person is like, "Yeah, okay, I get it. That's a scary situation. You as a father, I as a father, if my kid were like that, I wouldn't want to leave. And so if there were a critical scenario at work, I'd be like, well, if there's something that I can do from here, I'd be happy to do it." So at any rate, she drove to this Anschutz hospital. They have video of her handing this cash off to a man, somebody, and then walking away. And this person was never seen. And all of this happened because this person never thought to double check. They never thought to double check who they were talking to. They never thought to text their boss or any of her coworkers or talk to anybody within the building. She just did. And it went through, and she was able to get out with $500,000 that she is now liable for because she was the one who stole it. This is that is sort of an extreme example of how this occurs. But we also saw this on a national level with the MGM casino hack. I'm hitting casinos hard today. The MGM and Caesar casinos hacks, because that happened the exact same way. There was somebody who had some internal information about how the company operated. They called and had somebody perform actions that weren't a normal part of their job, but they did it because they were just trying to be helpful, and they didn't think to verify who they were talking to. So again, to combat the chameleon, it's just verify what they're saying. Verify the information against what they're saying. Try to make sure that the person you're talking to is actually the person that you're talking to. But on the very front end of this, we can help combat a lot of this. We can help keep a lot of this data out of reach by making sure we don't just readily expose it. We don't expose it in social media. We don't bring it out on LinkedIn. We don't have it displayed on our website. And when you have information that gets leaked, such as in the MGM and Caesar scenario, that was an administrator password that got leaked. When you have that information leaked and you find that out, you change it immediately. You don't wait, you don't ponder, you change it and deal with the fallout for it later. You make sure that the information that you have is secret and secure, because if that information is what you're verifying against, that is going to and somebody can get it, that is going to kill your ability to verify who you are and what you are doing as a person. So, to end this, the one thing that I guess I would say that we can do is to verify. Find a way to verify who you're talking to. Figure it out. At the bank, when I worked in banking, in order to verify that we were safe for the day, we had a flip card on our main employee entrance. That flip card went green when it was safe, and it was red when it wasn't. And so I, as the first person walking in for the day, would disarm the building and then flip the card once I verified that there was nobody else in the bank. If I forgot to flip the card, it was standard operating procedure for everybody else in the bank to call inside the bank, and there was a secret phrase. I've now forgotten what that secret phrase was, but it was something like, "Hey, did you guys have any checks bounced today?" or something like that. It was some innocuous term that they, or an innocuous question that they would ask. And then my response code for everything was all right would be popcorn. And then if everything wasn't all right, it would be duffel bag or something like that. I would try to work that word into the conversation somehow. And that is how we verified whether or not the situation was safe, or if we were in a dangerous situation and they shouldn't walk into the building. So that's an example of how organizations can verify each other, how people can verify each other. That's sort of an extreme example, but there are plenty of other ways to do this beyond that, and I'm sure some of you much more creative and intelligent people than I can figure out a way to verify that information. But all that being said, verify and empower people to question. Make sure that it's okay for everybody to question and verify. Am I really talking to the CEO of my company? Because if I think that this dude is not who he says he is, I'm just going to tell him to fuck off, because that is really what needs to happen here. Because honestly, if you're playing, if you're there with an attacker getting you, it's best not to play. It's best not to play that game. Just walk away and stop them from getting in. This has been the I T'd Myself podcast. Thank you for listening. Sources for this show were from the Denver Post and, of course, Big Potato Games. It's called The Chameleon. Don't blend in, don't get caught, by Riki Tata and La Mame Games. Have a great day, guys.